one of the issues in cryptocurrencies with Bitcoin, the original example, is how you make it costly to produce more of it. And that, as I understand it, the Bitcoin system, there are really two costs to mining one more Bitcoin. One of them is you've got to solve a very difficult mathematical problem with lots and lots of processing. And the other is you have to update the blockchain. So you're in effect providing a service to everybody else. And in fact, I'm not quite sure how, as you approach the maximum number of Bitcoins, aren't transactions going to get slower and slower because the blockchain is being updated less and less often? I don't know how they've taken care of that problem.
That won't be affected. However, when it comes to slow transactions, the way in which the Bitcoin developers are arguing they can solve this problem is by building layers on top of Bitcoin protocol or alongside the Bitcoin protocol. So there's the Lightning Network, and their goal is to lower the cost of Bitcoin transactions. In fact, Twitter actually, I believe, just incorporated a function where you're able to tip people in Bitcoin. And this is based on the Litecoin network. The developers on Bitcoin argue that they actually have a perhaps more programmatically secure approach to these kind of higher level computations that are done on Ethereum through modularity. So they argue they can build a layer 2, the Lightning Network. Now, then there's a debate about the centralization and decentralization of the Lightning Network. But that aside, they think that you can handle transactions off of the Bitcoin blockchain through this Lightning Network and that it won't slow the transactions down.
But in order for the transaction to actually happen on the Bitcoin blockchain, somebody's got to update the blockchain. And I thought that in the Bitcoin system, what gives you an incentive to update the blockchain is that's part of mining a Bitcoin.
Yes, so there is an issue there. So I think this will be solved perhaps by, now, at least I know the way in which other blockchains are solving this. The miners, for instance, get a cut of the transactions that are being done on those other networks. I think securing, yeah, this has always been an issue. And you know what, I'm not I haven't read up on this issue in quite a while. So the solution will be interesting. I guess that what will happen is that on a second or third layer, there is the option for the miners to ultimately get paid off based off of the transactions that are being done. But right now, the miners get paid by mining blocks, which are produced every 10 minutes. And I actually pulled up the release schedule. So,
but it won't be every 10 minutes in another 10 years.
No, it actually will remain constant. However, you'll be receiving fewer and fewer Bitcoins.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize that. Right. So but then hopefully they will be worth more and more, and therefore it'll still be worth doing.
I guess, yes, that's a good point. And I believe that would be true. This is kind of speaking back to the concept of whether or not Bitcoin is deflationary or not. You argue it isn't. I like your explanation. In fact, most Bitcoiners argue that it is. It's kind of just a given that it's deflationary. You mentioned that demand has to increase, or can it just remain constant?
If it remains constant, then Bitcoins will gradually lose value because the number increases, but they will go asymptotically to whatever the value would be when all of them are mined. So they're going to lose value, but more and more slowly. And you can only describe that as deflationary if you assume that inflation is the normal state of the world, and therefore less inflationary counts as deflationary. But if the demand for them is going up, then they could be deflationary in the price sense, but not in the stock of money sense. And different people use inflation and deflation either as a statement about how much money there is or about the price level. But in any case, Bitcoins are definitely an interesting institution. It would be sort of fun to watch them, but it's not something I do full time or anything close to full time.
Certainly. And so just to kind of go over the block reward real quick. Upon launch on January 3rd, 2009, the block reward was 50. In the most recent halving of May 2020, it dropped to 6.25 Bitcoins per block reward. And in the last one, which is expected in the sixth halving, which is expected in 2032, this won't be the last halving. It is to be 0.78125 Bitcoins as the block reward. And I didn't realize, but this doesn't go all the way to, I believe Bitcoins are expected to be mined until about 2140 was the estimate.
2140?
Yeah, I suppose that could change depending on technological advancements, et cetera.